All right. Good morning, everybody. I would like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Marla Billinghurst. I will be chairing the panel this morning. With me on the panel are Mr. Jerry Arnell and Mr. Brent McIntyre. Representing the Assessment Department is Mr. Matthew Harling, and the administrative personnel this morning is Ms. Nicole Carnegie. To the Zoom participants of the hearing, please note you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting. Kindly follow along on the City of Winnipeg's Board of Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. And once your hearing has concluded, you may leave the meeting. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. And once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today, and the session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the Board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 1, 3, 5, and 6 on our docket today. Ms. Carnegie, please affirm the assessor's and the applicant's testimony. Thank you.
Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Matthew Harling.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, please stand. Sorry. Can you state your full name, please?
Ryan Oliveros.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The first matter on our docket this morning is file number 22-3906 with no civic address. Mr. Harling, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The file number is 22-3906. The roll number is 07569138750. There's currently no actual address to this property, and the owner is Carte International Incorporated. The 2021 assessed value, based on a reference date of April 1st, 2018, is assessed at $141,000. I do have a recommendation for this property. I was able to speak with Mr. Oliveros previously about this property. This particular roll number actually will no longer exist anymore because there was actually a replot done on this property where it's been since amalgamated. So, but there was basically when we were doing the replot, there was an adjustment period of like a month where we when we used the effective dates when we were adjusting it, there was a month of taxes owing that we couldn't go back and adjust. So that's why this is still under assessment, because it was due to a supplementary notice that was sent out due to the replot. But long story short, essentially I'm making a recommendation that we discussed from $141,000 to $45,000. So that's the recommendation I'm putting forth on this property.
Sorry, that was 45,000?
Correct.
Thank you very much. Mr. Oliveros, do you have any questions for the applicant, or are you accepting this recommendation?
We accept the recommendation.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. McIntyre, do you have any questions regarding this?
Just one question, Matthew.
Sure.
Are there any comparisons to support that reduction on a square foot basis?
Basically, what I'm using is there was actually there was a sale on this piece of land. It's actually if you go to page 5 of my brief, it's been blanked out because it is technically considered post reference, but you know, being under the situation, I'm essentially basing on that sale. So,
okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Arnell, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Nor do I. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. The next matter on the docket, is file number 221889, and again, that is with no civic address. So, yes, Mr. Harling, please proceed.
thank you, Madam Chair. The file number is 221889. The roll number is 1404156800. The address is on Mountain Avenue, but it doesn't have a numbered address. The owner is FPCN General Partner Incorporated. The 2023 assessed value based on a reference date of April 1st, 2021 is $869,000. I do actually have a recommendation on this property as well, after speaking with Mr. Oliveros. Again, we're currently assessed at $869,000, so I am putting forth a recommendation to revise the assessment to $790,000.
Thank you very much. Mr. Oliveros, are you accepting the recommendation?
I do accept the recommendation, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Arnell, do you have any questions?
No, not at all.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre, do you have any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, nor do I. Sorry, give me 1 second. The next matter on the docket is 738 St. Joseph Street. Sorry, so Mr. Harling, please proceed.
I believe there's a preliminary issue on this property, class and liability or classification, I believe. So,
sorry, let me just take a look here. Okay, sorry, I didn't have any notes. I'm looking to see if I can find it.
No, I apologize. Yeah, it's just maybe Mr. Oliveros can.
Sorry, bear with me for 1 second, please.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, here. So this is appealing liability taxation as well as quantum and classification. All right. So I guess in this case, and Mr. Oliveros, you will be proceeding. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, so the subject property is at 738 St. Joseph Street. The roll number is 06060204-200. I did inspect this property of December 21st of last year. If you look on my brief here on page 8, I've provided photos of the subject property, as well as photos of the subject property, again, of itself, and as well as neighboring properties on pages 26 to 27. So you'll see there that this area is predominantly residential. Just gonna flip back to page 7 of my evidence here. So the subject, the city has classified it as vacant industrial land. It's approximately 2.1 acres here. Now I know that my written submission here says 91,476 square feet. That's an approximate calculation that should have been updated here. But the actual square footage of the site is 89,518 square feet. So the subject property was originally the Modern Dairies Limited plant here, and it did serve the greater St. Boniface area and the surrounding municipalities. The last owners were Beatrice Foods and Parmalat. They did vacate in 2017, and the building was subsequently demolished in 2019. The subject does have a split zoning here of M1, RMFM, and R1M. I'm going to flip back to the map on page 6 here. So we've approximated these calculations here. We're looking at about 60% of the site is zoned as industrial. So that works out to 53,711 square feet. And the remaining 40% is zoned residential. That is 35,807 square feet. So my client, they did purchase this property for multifamily development. There was a pre-application that was submitted to the City of Winnipeg's Urban Planning Division. And in that application here, or the decision that the Urban Planning Division has come up with, is stated on page 31 to 32 of my evidence. And they did state here essentially that if this property were to be applied for a variance order, that a multifamily development would be supported. And that is with reference to concepts 2 and 3 of this pre-application here. I'm not going to go through all the highlighted portions here, so I'll let you read that at your leisure or upon your review. Now, as I had mentioned, this area that the subject property is located in, it is predominantly residential. It's part of the North St. Boniface secondary plan, and I've provided the pages I've referenced of the North St. Boniface secondary plan on pages 45 to 46 of my brief. On page 45, you can see here that according to section 2, subsection 2.1, that the plan states that an objective is on creating a predominantly residential neighborhood. Section 2, subsection 2.2 also states that an objective is to transition out industrial uses from this residential area. So we believe that based on the pre-application here, the fact that my client purchased this property to build a multifamily building, that the city did make an error in classifying this as industrial land, and we do feel that it is more appropriately classified as multifamily. Furthermore, I'm sure we've all heard the news about this with regards to the significant donation that was made by Miriam Bergman here, that the development of this site was only delayed due to her passing, and because of the challenges that COVID had on this development. So we don't believe that the owner should be penalized because of these delays that they've been experiencing. So for these reasons, we're asking that the board reclassify the property from class code 60 to class code 20 for multifamily residential. And that concludes my presentation on classification. Thank you.
Okay, you also were appealing the liability to taxation, the other issues?
Yes, so liability here, since since this is only vacant land, we are not contesting the liability to taxation.
Okay. And quantum?
Quantum, we are contesting that, yes, but I believe the assessor would give his presentation or question me on classification first.
1 minute, please. Sorry, I was just making some notes. Okay. Whoops. All right, Mr. Harling, do you have any questions about classification?
Yeah, I guess just one here is I think you kind of answered, but as you stated, so currently though there's been no changes to the land itself, but currently it's still vacant land. Nothing's been changed, like the zoning hasn't been officially changed or nothing's been approved at this time, correct? Or
Nothing's been approved at this time yet, no.
okay. I think that's actually all the questions I have for classification. Thank you.
Mr. Arnell, any questions?
Just one. So has the application been made to change it?
No, not yet. So again, due to the challenges they face, the delays, they haven't applied for a variance yet.
Okay, that's the only question I had.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre, any questions?
Yeah, I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Nor do I. Sorry, I guess we'll do Mr. Harling's presentation on classification and then go back to quantum, or do.
Sorry, Madam Chair. Sorry, I wasn't sure, but okay. Okay. So yeah, I can give. Thank you, Madam Chair. So again, Mr. Alves has mentioned the file number and the roll number and then the address and such. So yes, just looking at my brief, going to page 6. So we will see that the property is classified. Essentially, currently this is a split class. As you see, as Mr. Alves had stated, roughly about 60% of the value or of the area of the land is in commercial or industrial, but the remaining would be vacant residential. And previously there was a building on here. The farm plant was there. Obviously, it's been demolished, as Mr. Alves had mentioned. So basically, when it comes to the classification, until such time, I would, state that until such time the actual zoning is in place or changes, I think that the zoning should stay as it is until such time. I understand that, predominantly the zoning here is residential, multifamily. So I don't dispute maybe going forward that may be the potential change to this point. But I believe until such time it does change. I believe the current zoning should stay until such time. So, and there are some quantum questions or things I will mention in my presentation regarding that. But I think I'll speak to that when we're going into the actual presentation. So that essentially is my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Alveros, any questions?
Yes, thank you for your presentation, Mr. Harling. Have you had a chance to review the zoning use table?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I am aware of that. Yes, I have checked. Yes.
Okay, and then under the M1 zoning here, under the M1 zoning, multifamily isn't allowed, correct?
That would be, yes, you wouldn't be able to build on that, correct?
Okay, but the residential zonings, multifamily, of course, would be allowed. Is that correct?
Yes, that would be correct. Yes.
And did you also have the chance to review the Municipal Assessment Act for the classification of property and portion values?
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yes.
Okay, so lawfully, one would be able, at least on the portion zoned residential, to erect a multifamily building. Is that correct?
On the multifamily could, yes, correct.
Okay, so with vacant land, is the department able to maybe allow a split classification?
That is something that we have. Yes, we do have other properties that we could do potentially a split classification, correct?
Okay. Are industrial uses allowed on multifamily land or land zone multifamily?
Sorry, could you say it again? Sorry.
Are industrial uses allowed on land zone multifamily?
Oh, no, based on the zoning, no, you could not put a multifamily on there, correct?
Okay. So at minimum, would you agree that at least, let's just use my numbers here, that at least 40% of this site lawfully should be classified as residential then?
Oh, yes, based on the zoning, I won't dispute. Yeah, based on the way the zoning is set up, correct, yes.
Okay. So just to solidify the values here, can we agree that 35,807 square feet should be classified as residential?
Based on the zoning, yes, so that particular portion would be zoned for residential, correct?
Okay, and the remainder at 53,711 square feet, we can classify that as industrial?
Looking at, yes, based on the portion, yes, yeah, correct, yes.
Okay, those are all my questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Arnell, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre.
I have no questions, thank you.
Thank you, nor do I. And so please proceed with your presentation on classification.
Okay. Sorry, Madam Chair, I can go on in the quantum, just speak to.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Okay, sorry, no problem.
Sorry, I had classification.
No problem at all.
That was my mistake. Sorry, I knew what I meant in my head.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the file number is 22-1712. The roll number is 060602042000, and the address is 738 St. Joseph Street. The owner is numbered company 10046645, Manitoba Incorporated. The 2023 assessed value based on a reference date of April 1st, 2021 is $1,672,000. If we go to bottom of page 1, you'll see the property description information. So the property type is classified as vacant industrial or Vindu. And then you'll see the zonings, which we've already spoken to previously. And the land area is 89,519 square feet. So we go to page 2 of my brief. Just the subject map or where the subject's located, located on St. Joseph Street. So at the top there, you can just kind of see where it's close to, obviously, St. Boniface. It's in the St. Boniface area of the city. The bottom of page 2, you'll just see more of a zoomed in map. So again, this is where it's located, close to Notre Dame Avenue, and then you'll see just south of that is Provencher Boulevard. Just going to page 3, we have seen the obviously the subject property here, and we're speaking to today, obviously right here on St. Joseph Street. Turning to page 4, I've just showed a photo previously of the previous building here. This was the Parmalat plan, which has since been demolished. So I'm just going to show the history of what was on this piece of land at that time. If we turn to page 5, my brief, we'll see the cost valuation again. We're assessing the property at $1,672,000. And I would like to note, Mr. Olsford did mention that the property did sell, and it did sell in 2020 for $4 million. One thing I will note is it was technically considered a multi-role sale. So if you go to page 3, my brief, to the subject property. So this is the property in itself, and the other portion of land that was included. If you just look at the top of my brief, you'll see a number 175. That little piece of land there was also included in the sale. So it was used as parking previously for the Parmalat plant. So those are the 2 pieces of land that were included in that sale. But obviously, more than the predominantly the value in that sale is the main parcel. So obviously that that was the sale price when it sold. It was an arm's length sale and modified, so there was nothing to indicate that it wasn't a good sale. So if we go to page 6 of my brief, we've already mentioned the zoning. So obviously we see the different types of zonings for this property. So we have the 3 zoning classifications on this particular property. This continues on page 7, and just a brief description of each of those the zoning types. So if we go to page 8 of my brief, so these are some of my land sale comparables. So I have a combination of some residential sales, and I do have one industrial sale. But on page 8 at the top here, you'll see the subject property again, located in the St. Boniface area of the city. The land area is roughly 89,519 square feet, roughly 2 acres. The zoning you'll see here as well. and some of the land influences that are with this piece of land. And roughly we're applying in $18.68 a square foot is what we're applying for this, the land rate we are applying for the subject property, which gives us the $1,672,000. So looking at my comparables, if this piece of land was to change to a 20 classification, residential mixed use, these are some of the comparables I've applied that I think would be appropriate. So comparable one, this is roughly 116,432 square foot piece of land, zoned residential multifamily. This property sold in June 16, 2019 for roughly $2.8 million, or roughly $24.22 a square foot. Comparable number two, this is it's a residential mixed use type property, very similar in size to the subject at 98,337 square feet. Sold on July 10th, 2020 for $2.6 million, or roughly $26.44 a square foot. Comparable number three, this is actually very close to comparable number two, which I'll show the photos after going to the comparables. So this is roughly 65,226 square feet, also zoned residential mixed use. And this one sold in November 10th, 2020 for roughly $1.7 million, or $26 a square foot. Comparable number four, this is actually sold, this is on 173 Notre Dame Street. This is actually just adjacent to the subject. It is a smaller piece of land at $31,587 square feet, zoned residential multifamily. This one sold March 7, 2018 for roughly $1,395,000, or roughly $44 a square foot. And then comparable number five here, this on 447 Edison Avenue, roughly 116,000 square feet, zoned residential multifamily. And this was sold in August 22nd, 2016 for roughly $18.47 a square foot. This one is a slightly older sale than the other comparables, so you can see, just looking at that, land sales have gone up, especially for residential land. So, and if we just turn to page 9 of my brief, I've shown a comparable 6. This is an industrial parcel of land, roughly 84,262 square feet. This one sold on May 22nd, 2019 for roughly $1.3 million, or $15.43 a square foot. So this is predominantly industrial though. So now if we go to page 10 of my brief, this is comparable number 1. So this one's located on Leela Avenue. So you'll see just a photo of the subject property, very similar type of size, shape to the subject property. Going to comparable number 2, this is located on Beaver Crescent. This is very close to Pembina Highway. I kind of showed a photo at the bottom of the page to kind of show in relation to where it's kind of situated close to Pembina Highway there. And as you can see there, it backs onto a rail line as well. So we go to page 12 of my brief. This is comparable number 3. This is actually just south of the previous comparable I spoke to. Again, very similar shape to subject, similar in size. And again, you can see where it faces behind the rail line there. Page 4 or 13, comparable number 4. This is actually on St. Joseph's or Notre Dame Street. This is actually just adjacent to the subject, as you can see. I showed at the bottom of the page 13, this is when it was vacant land when it was being constructed. So there's a building on it now, but when it's sold, I just want to show that it was vacant at one point. It is smaller than the subject I won't dispute, but this one sold for $44 a square foot. So, and going to page 14 of my brief, this is comparable number 5. This is located on Edison Avenue. This is a 2016 sale. I apologize, the photo's not as good. It's hard to find a better photo. It's basically the shape of the land is the brown piece of land, as you can kind of see there. So this one again sold in 2016, multifamily land. And lastly, on page 16, comparable number 6, this is the industrial piece of land I spoke to. This is on Bradford Street and Century Street. So again, this would be similar size and shape to subject property. So again, but this is industrial. So and then if we go into page 17, this is just the current classification we have and the assessed value in the subject. And this continues on page 18 to 19, just some municipal assessment activities or information. So so basically what I'm just kind of trying to say is in the event that this piece of land is classified as a overall 20 classification, I believe the if anything, I feel like the value would be underassessed based on that, just based on the comparables as well as the sale price. So that's something definitely that would have to be looked at. So but that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry. Mr. Oliveros, do you have any questions for Mr. Harling?
I do. Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Harling, if we can flip to your page 8 here. Your comparables 2 and 3. So those are close to the BRT line, are they not?
That's correct.
Would you say that's a value positive to these properties, which would make them superior in that sense?
I don't, not necessarily. No, I don't disagree with that or agree with that on, particularly. So, I mean, the zoning is a residential mixed use. It's similar types of zoning and similar type of buildings they can build on there. But, you know, I mean, whether or not that, I don't know how much influence it has on it, but in terms of the valuation, but I think it's hard to say specifically. So,
But being next to the BRT line would be considered a great convenience to renters of the apartment, correct?
Possibly. Again, I'm not. I can't say for certain. So.
Okay. Going to your comparable 4 here. Are you aware that there was a building on site when it was purchased?
Yes, as it was. Yes, there was. Exactly. I don't dispute that. Yes.
Do you know if the sale price included demolition costs?
I do. I believe, as far as I know, I believe it was just the land, but I can't state that. I'm not aware. So.
Okay. And economies of scale as well. We have here that it sold at $44.16 a square foot. The subject property is over twice the size. Or
I don't dispute that. Yeah. I don't dispute the fact of it is definitely smaller. So you're right. That would have a bearing on the sale price. Yes. So.
Okay. And with regards to the sale price, you would agree with me that one sale doesn't make the market?
No, I don't I don't dispute that yet. One sale does not make a market. No.
Okay. And so going back to your comparables, considering that point here, we have sales from $18.47 a square foot to $44.16 a square foot, that $44.16 being affected by economies of scale here. So would you say that the sale price is likely above market?
I mean, I'm based on the size of it. I don't think that's considered above market. I mean, it's a smaller piece of land. So again, as you stated, economies of scale, this would sell for more just based on its size. So, and again, I'm just trying to show a range of sales. So I'm not relying on that one sale. I'm just trying to show a range, saying that indicate that these are what multifamily properties will sell for roughly in this range. So depending on the size. So.
Okay, but then the sale price is out of that range, is it not?
I mean, you could say it's slightly higher based on the size of it. Yes, I won't dispute that.
So let's eliminate the 173 Notre Dame here. So $20 a square foot is only a slight. I think that's quite considerably above.
It's like I said, I know I'm not disputing the fact that it is higher based on the size. Yes, so.
Okay. Those are all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Arnell, do you have any questions?
No questions, thanks.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre.
Just one, if you go to page 2, which is the map. Is this not close to the downtown area?
Yes, as I say, it's actually if you look on the bottom of page 2, there's Provencher Boulevard. So yeah, just basically that's the bridge right there to get right to downtown. Yeah,
so is it not within close proximity as far as walking distance goes to downtown?
Yeah, I don't dispute it would be very close to downtown. Like I said, the Forks would be very close by in downtown and such. Yeah, so.
Okay, that was my only series of questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have no questions at this time. So, Mr. Oliveros, please proceed.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. So the assessor has already described the property accurately, and I described it earlier during my presentation for classification here. So I'm just going to skip on to my analysis on page 14 of my evidence here. So the comparable sales, they range in size from 32,695 square feet to 137,000 135 square feet. You can see here that they are all within sort of the same school division as the subject property here. The sale prices range from $425,000 to $2,800,000. The sale prices per square foot are between $10.81 a square foot to $17.52 a square foot. Now, in our opinion here, again, with this property being purchased for multifamily development, we can see what the character of the neighborhood is like. Considering the North St. Boniface plan phasing out the industrial uses, we have valued this specifically as multifamily land. So that is why I've only presented multifamily comparables to you today. I have descriptions of each of those comparables on pages 15 to 22 of my evidence. But my two best comparables here, I would say, are comparables 4 and 5. They have good configuration. They are similar in size to the subject property. They have zoning designations which would allow, and they have zoning designations that would allow for higher densities. I would have also considered comparable 1 to be given more weight, but I couldn't identify its location, so I haven't given it that much consideration due to that fact. So based on these comparable sales, I've applied a rate of $17.50 a square foot to the subject property, and this results in a value of $1,567,000. At minimum, as we went through questioning, we know that the property it has a split zoning code with 60% as industrial and the remainder being residential here. So at minimum, I do feel that we should split the classification here with 940,000 going to the industrial portion and 627,000 going to the residential portion. I know on my brief I'm stating that it should be that it should all be classified as multifamily land, but I do believe that at minimum, it should be a split classification at those values. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I'm just making a note. Sorry, Mr. Harling, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just curious when you were mentioning the classification of splitting the piece of land. So what were you basing the industrial portion on? Like, are you just taking the remainder of the value? Like I'm just curious, what rates were you applying to each of those classifications, or how did you derive the values for each of those, I guess, or?
Yeah, so if we take 60% of 1,567,000, that works out to 942.
Oh, I see what you did. Okay.
40% for the remainder.
Okay. So then, in terms of like, I guess okay, so I see what you did then. Okay, you know what? I think that's all the questions I have. And yeah, that clears it up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arnell. Do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, Mr. McIntyre?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Nor do I. Thank you. Is there a need for summary from either party on this matter?
No, I think I'll just rely on my evidence that I spoke to. Thank you.
I would like to offer just brief summation here. So again, we know this property is in a predominantly residential neighborhood now. Industrial uses are being phased out. There is an intent to develop this land as with a multifamily building. So again, we're asking the board to reduce the value to $1,567,000 with a class code 20 classification, or at minimum a split classification at 940,000 for class code 60 and 627,000 for class code 20.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to the next matter on the docket, which is file number 22-2366, and it's on Marion Street with no numerical address.
Yeah, just probably need to break here. See if we have misplaced it.
Madam Chair, I believe I have a preliminary issue I would like to discuss here, if that's okay.
Sorry, can you give me 1 minute, please? I'm just getting to it. Sorry.
No worries.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the subject property here, the roll number is 0609346170. It is used to support the main holding at 850 Marion Street. So we're actually asking that the hearing for this property be adjourned to be heard at a later date. We are going to be asking for the assessed value of this parcel to be removed from the main holding. So again, I would request that the board adjourn the hearing for this property if possible.
Sorry, so you're asking it to be adjourned because you want it moved to the one with the other property?
That's correct, yes.
What is the address of the property?
50 Marion Street.
It's 50 or 15?
850.
Oh, 850, I'm sorry. Sorry, sometimes on Zoom you lose little details. Okay, sorry. I think we are going to have to take, oh, sorry, Mr. Harling, do you have anything to say about that? Because I'm going to have to take a brief recess regarding
Well,
this request.
I was just looking at when I was just reading Mr. Oliveira's brief. I guess he did state in his brief he was asking to confirm the value, so I don't know if that would be in the same situation here or not, because I understand the situation on this particular piece of land. So I'm not sure. I guess this board will have to make their decision, I guess, then. So
I did state there we're requesting to adjourn the hearing for this property, but if the board is not able to grant it today, then we would simply seek confirmation.
Okay, so I'm going to ask for a brief adjournment, please. Oh, sorry, not adjournment, a brief recess, please. Thank you very much. We have discussed the matter and we are denying the request to adjourn the matter. So Mr. Harling, please proceed with your presentation.
Madam Chair, apologize.
No, take your time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The file number is 22-2366. The roll number is 0609346170. The address is Marion Street, and the owners are Marion Business Park Incorporated. The 2023 assessed value based on a reference date of April 1st, 2021 is $159,000. Go to the bottom of page 1, you just see some property description information. The property is zoned Bindoor Vacant Industrial. It is zoned M3 Manufactured Heavy, and the land area is 59,995 square feet. Just go to page 2 of my brief, you see the subject map. So I've shown a little red dot where it's located on the subject property map there. Bottom page 2, this is part of the Marion Business Park, as Mr. Oliveira had mentioned. If we go to page 3 of my brief, you'll see you'll see the land at the top there. I have highlighted in red. So yes, this piece of land obviously is used to get access to the site here on the corner there. Basically, the reason is that at some point that land I believe should be incorporated into the actual business park itself, but that would be something that the property owner would have to request, that they would like that land amalgamated into that piece of property. So this is how it's assessed currently. So that's why we are assessing it as this time as such. And the bottom of page 3, again, you'll just kind of see the piece of land in relation where it is. Page 4 of my brief, just again, the cost valuation summary, the land value at $159,000. And this property, when it was purchased back in 2013, sold for roughly $189,000. Page 5 of my brief, just a zoning, zoned M3 manufacturing heavy, and just a brief description of what that entails. So go on page 6, my comparables. So the property is roughly 60,000 square feet, zoned M3 hand manufacturing heavy. You'll see some land influences. It actually does have a contamination issue with it. So we're assessing it at a land rate for $2.65 a square foot. I'll just briefly go into the comparables. So yeah, the comparables range in size for roughly 22,240 square feet to 197,000 square feet. They range from M2 to M3 zoning. You see some land influences on the comparables. The sale price per square foot range from $2.28 a square foot to $9.67 a square foot. I'm just going to page 7. It's just comparable 1. This is located on Logan Avenue. Page 8. This is comparable number 2. This is located on Niagara Road. Comparable number 3. This is on Marion Street. Comparable number 4 on page 10. This is located on Dupree Avenue, which is close to the subject. And page 11 is comparable number 5. This is located on Hyde Avenue off of Oak Point Highway. Page 12, my brief, just the classification, allocation information, and the assessed value. And then just page 13 and 14 are just the municipal assessment act excerpt information. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Oliveros, do you have any questions for the assessor?
I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Arnell?
No questions, thanks.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre?
Oh, I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Nor do I. Mr. Oliveros?
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, we're requesting confirmation of the assessment.
Thank you very much. All right. Sorry. Thank you very much. Okay, we have heard all the items scheduled, and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you, everybody, and good morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.